But you didn't have any issues with her, right?
No, I mean, obviously, if he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, "Hey, pick" or something,
Fair.
back
That's
then.
fair.
I can't say that we ever screamed or I mean, he was a pretty mellow guy, I think I was pretty mellow. I don't think we had some big, huge blow up to say, why we stopped dating or, and I even think that when I was dating him, I was probably, like I said, I was probably going out with other guys and he was probably going out with other girls.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, would you remember if she snapped on you and just like, hey man, it's my man, you get it, leave him alone, blah, 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 that kind of stuff? Would you remember an incident like that? I mean, because that would be like, what?
Well, and maybe that happened. I mean, gosh, it's been so long ago. I mean, that's not ringing a bell.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because the times I've seen you around at our office,
I'm crazy.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
So let's just follow this path for just a minute. I don't know who she is. Maybe I met her. Oh, I never went to her house. Maybe I did. Oh, he was dating both of us. Hold on. How much more do you need to do to raise your hands and say, could I have those cuffs now? I mean, what storyline are you trying to hold? This is not any person would say, I'm going to shut up and get a lawyer right here, unless you're arrogant enough to think that you can outsmart these guys sitting across the table from you. And then we'll find out because it's coming. She goes on and says, if he was dating both of us.
If he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, hey, pick or something,
Then she does a redirect where she starts talking about he was mellow.
I mean, he was a pretty mellow guy.
What's that got to do with this whole thing? And then she just jumps tracks. She didn't bother chaffing. She just jumps tracks and starts to answer a new question.
I don't think we had some big, huge blow up to say, why we stopped dating or,
What's she even talking about? Then you get back to the questioning, and then she's got that little smirk, and I think that's just who she is. It's something she's done in her whole life. And then she does a little trading guilt by saying, I'm crazy, and then minimizing the impact. If I were here, I would just be like, why don't you finish the interrogation? We'll just sit here and listen to you question yourself, because this is going nowhere but down. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so more extreme turtling here to the level now that she should be sponsored by some kind of caffeine drink.
Turtle wax. Turtle wax.
Exactly. It's like you can't. I don't think I can even turtle the level that she's managing to turtle. My bone structure won't do it.
Do it, Chase.
Let's see your. Yeah, exactly. Chase Hughes, extreme turtling. So she doesn't know who to hold eye contact with. The head's just going from side to side. I don't know, whether she's trying to work out now, like who's on my side, who isn't, or just she now feels nobody's on her side. But she doesn't know where to hold eye contact. Her breathing rate is now way higher than it has been in the past. She is what I would call mugging and gurning her way through this. Mugging being an acting style whereby you just pull faces to get away with it, and gurning being a very particular English face pulling sport for the English panelists, British panelists. Stick it up on social media so people know what we're talking about there when we talk about gurning. There's some extreme face pulling here. And she even, and I don't think I've seen this before, she even does a pass out eye roll, which is where her eyes roll back to the side and she kind of almost does the action of fainting. It's just so extreme and so extraordinary. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else apart from in some some comedies or some films or some dramas of some sort. It's so extreme. Love it. Can't get enough of it. Scott, what have you got?
All right. She's minimizing huge here because he's talking about how it might have happened, all that, and if it did, it wasn't that big a deal. The goofy face stuff stays almost a constant in this. You're right, Mark. That's it's out of hand. It's ridiculous at this point. And she's putting on a show at this point. She's she's got her anger quelled a little bit, but she's still trying to, she knows, or she's pretty sure they've got something, and she's wanting to know what it is because they're so confident, and that's what's getting her, because they're coming on like, yeah, we got something, and she's like, well, and trying to explain her way out of all these things. We talked about her structure before. She's going back to each one and pulling stuff from them and trying to defend all those because they really haven't hit her with anything yet. So they did such a great job on this, when she says maybe that happened. Again, leaving the door open so she can go back and try to protect some of that stuff and add something to it, add qualifiers to help save her story on that. But she doesn't know what they have, and it's really frustrating for her. And I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing that eye roll mark as in going along with what's actually happening. There's just so much emotionally she's going through here because that's that personality type. All those emotions are running through her, back and forth and up and down and all around. It's beautiful. It's horrible, really. But I mean, watching it like this and seeing her get in trouble for what she's done, I think that's the good part. But man, from a psychological standpoint, it's just beautiful. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, I love it. That interrogator really brings it out of her in a really good way. Yeah. I think, in Greg's famous terms, this is called bringing the chimpanzee to the shindig. I think
for sure.
Another old Hartley chestnut.
So ambiguity is now the new defense. And you hear her time cleansing defense strategy here. It's been so long ago. And there's this upward tone in her voice that's different than uptalk. Completely different than uptalk.
Gosh, it's been so long ago. That's not ringing a bell.
Which is just helping to add to this uncertainty. There's tight lips. The chin boss movement is ridiculous. But when he says it snapped at you, there's forced fabricated recall. And one of the surefire ways to tell us there's forced recall or some pretend recall is head and eyes move together to recall. It's usually just an eye movement, but most of her glances towards the non-question asking person are towards the end of her statements to make sure that she's being believed. So a confirmation glance when we're looking at someone else in a conversation, when there's two interrogators, it's more likely to be deceptive when you make contact with the non-asking person after the statement, which we're definitely seeing here. I'll just leave it at that.
But you didn't have any issues with her, right?
No, obviously, if he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, "Hey, pick" or something, back
That's
then.
fair.
I can't say that we ever screamed or he was a pretty mellow guy. I think I was pretty mellow. I don't think we had some big, huge blow up to say, why we stopped dating or, and I even think that when I was dating him, I was probably, like I said, I was probably going out with other guys and he was probably going out with other girls.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, would you remember if she snapped on you and just like, hey man, it's my man, you leave him alone, blah, 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 that kind of stuff? And would you remember an incident like that? I mean, because that would be like, what?
Well, and maybe that happened. I mean, gosh, it's been so long ago. That's not ringing a bell.
Mm-hmm. Because at times I've seen you around at our office.
I'm crazy.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.